Hey everybody, it's your old pal Tom here on the Tom Gulley Show. Tonight, let me tell you about Ansel Adams, legendary, incredible black and white photographer, known for his images of the American West and many other things. And frankly, learning about his upbringing and his actual life, I've always been thrilled and amazed at the just composition and clarity and tonal scale of the photographs of Ansel Adams. But learning about him as a person, I went, well, there's something you don't see every day. So we'll get into a little bit of that and try to enjoy it. I myself am a photographer. I take lots and lots of pictures. I'm thinking about on Saturday doing a members-only show where I show off a bunch of my photographs. And the only reason I would make it members-only on YouTube is I got to do something for the members. I have to do something to validate their membership, so that would be the thing. And, of course, this is our cold open that we do, especially for our audio podcast listeners, so that they don't feel like, oh, wait, this guy's playing some songs. I didn't come here for songs. I came here for the topic of the day, which in this case is Ansel Adams, and I'm not hearing that, and I'm off to the next one. We don't want to do that, see? Because we aren't going to do a long show, like an hour probably, on Ansel Adams. But this is also an interactive YouTube program, so we have to let our chat room fill up with the very insightful, frequently horribly juvenile people that inhabit it. And that's what we're doing now. And that's why I play the songs. And I really wouldn't play the songs unless we had a musical genius like our music director, Leon Kennedy, who makes incredible songs that are real toe tappers, which you can fast forward through if you're just not into it. I mean, I'm not saying you can't, audio podcast people. I don't recommend that you do, though, because they're awesome, and they're about me, so I automatically like them. There's one of them. This is the first one I'm going to play is about me, but it's almost like a song that I would be singing in a musical about me. It doesn't have my name in it or the name of the show, which is the first time that's happened. I don't really know how I feel about that. No, I'm kidding. It's really great. And you can tell it's about me. It just doesn't say it's about me, but you can tell. So if you can tell without it having, had to be said, that's probably better, I think. But it's really not important what I think. The only thing that's important is what you think. So I'm going to play that one, and then another new one-ish. And then, let me tell you about Ansel Adams.
They said the night was crowded, too many voices in the room. Some burn bright for a moment, some fade out far too soon. I've watched the doors swing open, I felt them close just as fast. You learn to mind your footing on a floor made out of glass. I've been counted out, I've been counted wrong. I've heard the doubts get loud and strong when the lights go out and I play that song. had nights full of promise. I've had days that wouldn't end. Some chase the sound of thunder, some wait for trends to bend. I've seen the door swing wide open, I've seen them slam just as fast. You learn to move with some caution on a surface built to crash. I've been counted out, I've been counted wrong. I've heard the doubts get loud and strong. When the lights go out and I play that song, I'm still on. Let them talk about the past, let them say it doesn't last. I don't need the wind forever, I just need to run one more mile, one more honest song. I've been counted up, I've been counted wrong. I've heard the doubts get loud and strong. When the lights go out and I play that song, I'm still on. Yeah, I'm still on. I'm not going anywhere, I'm not going home. Yeah, I'm still on. There's a room with a restless air, voices rising everywhere. Most fall wide or miss their mark till one cuts through and stops the spark. No long road, no winding tale, just the right thought set to sail. The room goes still for half a beat, then the band comes in complete.
That's the point, my pal, you saw it land.
Right in time with the swing of the band.
That's the point, my dear, you saw it too.
Tom Gulley, yeah, he's pointing at you.
That's the point, my pal, you saw it land.
Right in time with the swing of the band.
That's the point, my dear, you saw it too.
Tom Gulley, yeah, he's pointing at you. Some press hard just to be heard, dressing noise up into words. But Mr. Gulley lifts a hand and the room falls in with a band. No flourish, nothing grand, just a thought you understand. When the rhythm nods along, you know you've landed something strong.
That's the point, my pal, you saw it land.
Right in time with the swing of the band.
That's the point, my dear, you saw it too.
Tom Gulley, yeah, he's pointing at you.
That's the point, my pal, you saw it land.
Right in time with the swing
Hey everybody, what's going on? What's hot? What's hip? What's happening? What's shaking tonight? Let me tell you about legendary photographer. I swear, 2026 is the year I will learn to speak. Legendary photographer Ansel Adams. I'm going to tell you all about him. And there's interesting things about this guy. I mean, I didn't realize. I thought he was just a great photographer. I thought he'd be mild-mannered or something. He's got some things. But we'll get into all of it, right? But before we do me a favor. Like, share, subscribe, retweet, notification bell, all the absolutely free things you can do to help our fledgling little show here, especially with the algorithm, the almighty, all-powerful, all-knowing algorithm. We do have the super chats. We do have the memberships. We have the gifted memberships. If you go to our YouTube description, we have the PayPal, where you give the most, I get the most. Google don't get nothing. And also you can go to the TomGulleyShow.com, where you'll find some curated podcasts and past shows, hundreds of them, and articles and things. And also our merchandise store. You know, T-shirts, shot glasses, mugs, hats, you name it. We got it all. Some call it trinkets and trash. I call it a wide variety of name brand items. That's what I call it. Let's check out our chat room really quickly here first. The legend himself, Leon Kennedy's here. He says, Tom Gulley's Wild Roundup. That is foreshadowing. That's foreshadowing. You'll know what it means later, but not tonight. Jeannie is here, and she's got some useful information about Ansel Adams. She knows a lot about a lot of things. She does. And you're right. He did invent the zone system, 11 zones of light and dark. And we'll get into that in a little while. Randy, the chef, is here. And he's in the kitchen with Cooper, with Mikey, and with Charles. And the other day, someone had asked to see a picture of a burger from the chef. And so, with no further ado, there's some sliders right there that the chef made up for somebody or something. I'm assuming for that fancy restaurant that he works at. So there's some sliders. You know, sliders are all the rage. You know, they really are. Everybody wants the sliders. Gots to have the sliders. Nice to have the guys from the Skyline Club in Indianapolis with us. Sky is here. Says, finally, something about photography. Let's blank and go. Easy now. Fishman is here. And Positive Patriot is here. So we've got a lively chat room here. We do have the most cheerful chat room on the internet, as verified by independent sources. And with all that being said, let's just get into it, shall we? I think that we shall. Ansel Easton Adams was an American landscape photographer and an environmentalist known for his black and white images of the American West. He helped found the Group F64, which is an association of photographers advocating what they called, quote-unquote, pure photography, which favored sharp focus and the use of the full tonal range of a photograph, which Jeannie was talking about just a second ago. He and Fred Archer developed a system of image making called the zone system, a method of achieving a desired final print through a technical understanding of how the tonal range, the various tones of an image, is the result of choices that are made in exposure, negative development, and then in printing. The entire process. The entire process. So, in a world of digital printing, we don't think about these things as much. But back before digital printing, to get the quality and clarity that you would get from an Ansel Adams photo, which is a lot of what makes them so incredible, I would probably argue that his composition of his photographs was just beyond compare. But it is true that the technical aspects of his photos were also quite amazing. Adams was born in the Fillmore district of San Francisco, the only child of Charles Hitchcock Adams and Olive Bray. He was named after his uncle, Ansel Easton. His mother's family came from Baltimore, where his maternal grandfather had a successful freight hauling business, but lost his wealth investing in failed mining and real estate ventures in Nevada. Now, it's, I think, important to point out now, because as I continue, you will see that Ansel Adams came from both money and poverty. So his grandfather was very, 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 very wealthy, but then they lost it all. And that is a trend that would continue during his upbringing. The Adams family, you're welcome, came from New England, having migrated from the north of Ireland during the early 19th century. His paternal grandfather founded a very, very prosperous lumber business that his father later managed. However, late in life, Ansel Adams condemned the industry that his grandfather worked in for cutting down many of the redwood forests. One of Ansel Adams' earliest memories was watching the smoke from the fires caused by the 1906 San Francisco earthquake. And we covered that here on the show. Yes, the earthquake was devastating, but even more devastating to the city of San Francisco were the fires that broke out after the earthquake. He was only 4 years old at the time, and although he wasn't injured during the initial shaking, but he was tossed face first into a garden wall during an aftershock 3 hours later, breaking and scarring his nose. A doctor recommended that his nose be reset once he reached maturity, but it remained crooked and necessitated mouth breathing for the rest of his life. So although a brilliant photographer, Ansel Adams was a mouth breather. There you go. After the earthquake, his family moved 2 miles west to a new home near the Seacliff neighborhood of San Francisco, just south of the Presidio Army Base. The home had a splendid view of the Golden Gate and the Marin Headlands. Ansel Adams was a hyperactive child, and he got sick a lot, and he therefore became a hypochondriac. He had very few friends, but his family home and the surroundings on the heights facing the Golden Gate were really opportunities for him. He loved those things. He had little patience for games or sports, but he loved the beauty of nature from a very early age, collecting bugs and exploring Lobos Creek and the sea cliffs. His father had a 3-inch telescope, phrasing, and they enthusiastically shared the hobby of astronomy. They would visit the Lick Observatory on Mount Hamilton together. Yep, make your own jokes about the Lick Observatory now. Put them in the chat. His father later served as the paid secretary-treasurer of the Astronomical Society of the Pacific, and he did that for 25 years, from 1925 to 1950. However, his business suffered large financial losses after the death of his grandfather, Charles Adams, his father, in the aftermath of the Panic of 1907. And some of these losses were due to his uncle, Ansel Easton, and another guy's father, secretly having sold their shares of the company, knowingly providing controlling interest to the Hawaiian Sugar Trust for a large amount of money. And by 1912, the family's standard of living had dropped very sharply. Ansel himself was dismissed from several private schools for being restless and inattentive. So when he was 12, his father decided to completely remove him from school. And for the next 2 years, he was educated by private tutors, his Aunt Mary, and his father. His Aunt Mary was a devotee of Roger Ingersoll, who was this 19th century agnostic and women's suffrage advocate. So those teachings were very important to his upbringing. And during the Panama Pacific International Exposition in 1915, his father insisted that Ansel spend part of each day studying the exhibits as part of his education. He eventually resumed and completed his formal education by attending, get this, the Kate M. Wilkins Private School, graduating from the 8th grade on June 8, 1917. And during his later years, he displayed that diploma in the guest bathroom of his home. That's, of course, where you display all such important. Anyway. Ansel's father raised him to follow the ideas of Ralph Waldo Emerson, to live a modest, moral life guided by social responsibility to both man and nature. They were naturalists. Adams had a loving relationship with his father, but he did not have the greatest of relationships with his mother, who really did not approve of his interest in photography. World's greatest photographer, mom doesn't approve of it. The day after her death in 1950, Ansel had a dispute with the undertaker when choosing the casket they were going to bury her in. Ansel had chosen the cheapest in the room, a $260 coffin that seemed the least he could purchase without actually getting out a board and nails and building a coffin himself. The undertaker remarked, "Have you no respect for the dead?" And Adams replied, "One more crack like that, and I will take Mama elsewhere. I will take my deceased mother business elsewhere, my good man." By the way, where does the undertaker get off being high and mighty about him buying the cheapest coffin in the room when he's the one selling the coffin? I don't get that. I would have made that point to him. It's like, well, if it doesn't have any respect for the dead, why are you selling it? And why are you mad at me for wanting to buy it? Pal. But that's me. Ansel became interested in playing the piano at the age of 12 after hearing his 16-year-old neighbor, Henry Cowell, play on the Adams piano, and he taught himself to play and read music. Now, he heard Henry Cowell. Henry Cowell is like a legendary composer, pianist, performer on the piano ever. So, over the next decade, 3 music teachers pushed him to develop technique and discipline, and Ansel Adams was determined to pursue a career as a classical pianist. I said pianist. Ansel Adams first visited Yosemite National Park in 1916 with his family, and he wrote of his first view of the valley. "The splendor of Yosemite burst upon us, and it was glorious. One wonder after another descended upon us. There was light everywhere, and a new era began for me." During this stay, yes, Ansel's father gave him his first camera, an Eastman Kodak Brownie box camera, and he took his first photographs with his usual hyperactive enthusiasm. He returned to Yosemite on his own the next year with a better camera and a tripod. And during the winters of 1917 and 1918, he learned basic darkroom techniques while working part-time for a San Francisco photograph finisher. Check out the awesome camera there, huh? That was probably the size of a shoebox, too, by the way. It was not a put it in your pocket cell phone kind of camera. Ansel contracted the Spanish flu, as did nearly everybody, during the 1918 flu pandemic, from which he needed several weeks to recuperate. He read a book about lepers and became obsessed with cleanliness. He was afraid to touch anything without immediately washing his hands afterwards. And some people think that's weird or obsessive. I'm like, oh, that's just a good idea. But anyway, over the objections of his doctor, he prevailed on his parents to take him back to Yosemite, and the visit cured him of his disease and his compulsions. But Ansel Adams, by this time, the shutterbug bug had bitten him, and it had bitten him hard. He avidly read photography magazines, attended camera club meetings, and went to photography and art exhibits. He explored the High Sierra during summer and winter with retired geologist and amateur ornithologist Francis Holman, whom he called Uncle Frank. Hey, Uncle Frank. Holman taught him camping and climbing. However, their shared ignorance of safe climbing techniques, hello, 1996 Everest disaster, such as belaying. You know what belaying is? That's like when you have a rope and you're climbing up a mountain, it's helpful to have a carabiner or something that will put friction on the rope in case you need to stop when you're falling. Yeah, well, they didn't know anything about that, which led to disaster on more than one occasion. What a guy. While on vacation to Yosemite, Adams had need of a piano to practice on. An arranger introduced him to a landscape painter named Harry Best, who kept a studio home in Yosemite and lived there during the summers. Best allowed Adams to practice on his old square piano. And Adams grew interested in Best's daughter Virginia and later married her. On her father's death in 1936, Virginia inherited the studio and continued to operate it until 1971. The studio is now known as the Ansel Adams Gallery and remains owned by the Adams family. Not that Adams family. How dare you? How dare you? It was Uncle Frank, not Uncle Fester. At age of 17, Adams joined the Sierra Club. And I'll tell you about it just after I get to some of these, what I'm sure are going to be amazingly snarky remarks from the chat room. I'm sure the chat room will have acres of snark piled up here for me. Oh, no, not that much snark. Let's see. Fishman says, sliding to the burger DMs. Genie says, F-64 group was named after the pinhole of the lens. Well, yes, it's an F-stop, Genie. Guido Samurai is saluting us. And thank you, Genie. Sky says, Lick Observatory. Is that anything like the... hey, easy. Butter Jones is here. I just can't say the other name. One, because it's dirty, and two, because it makes me feel stupid. I'll say it once each show, and then it's Butter Jones after that. But it's Butter Dick Jones. Said it as fast as I could. Now I got to wipe my mouth off a little bit. Guido Samurai says, I started watching Tom after seeing him in Shaman's Chat, dunking on him. Well, I'm known for that, but that's not what we necessarily want to be known for in our career. The truth of it is, Guido, I play a very nice, mild-mannered news reporter kind of old man on the Tom Gulley Show. But in reality, that's all an act. I am quite vicious. Team Brittany is here. She says, hey, everyone. Always good to see Team Brittany. Everybody say hi to Team Brittany. People saying hi. People saying hi. The most cheerful chat on the internet. Yeah. Guido says, sup, homie. Leon Kennedy says if he was a mouth breather, he could have joined the Dabbleverse. Oh, if he was a mouth breather, he'd have been the smartest person in the Dabbleverse. Guido Samurai says, you don't have to explain anything to me. You earned my view. Okay. Man. There's a couple of clips on the internet of me. I'm just not that nice to people that want to be jerks. By the way, like, share, subscribe, retweet, notification bell, all those free things you can do to help us with the algorithm, and super chats and memberships and gift to memberships and the PayPal and all of that. It's in the YouTube description. Oh, people saying hi. Let's get back to the Sierra Club, shall we? You guys know what the Sierra Club is, don't you? It's a group dedicated to protecting the wild places on Earth. And I'm not talking about that emo club downtown in the hip part of the bohemian section of the city you live in. No. The wild places on Earth, meaning the unspoiled by man places in nature. And he was hired as the summer caretaker, mind you, the summer caretaker at the Sierra Club visitor, also known as visitor facility in Yosemite Valley, the LeConte Memorial Lodge. And he did this from 1920 to 1923. He remained a member of the Sierra Club throughout his lifetime and served as a director, as did his wife. He was first elected to the Sierra Club's board of directors in 1934 and served on the board for 37 years. Adams participated in the club's annual high trips. Now, I know what you're thinking, but those were wilderness excursions. They were held by the club until the early 70s, when they were replaced by a number of smaller trips to wilderness areas worldwide. Just in case you were trying to make it dirty, I know you want to make it dirty, I'm not going to let you make it dirty. And he later became the assistant manager and official photographer for these trips. He's credited with several first ascents in the Sierra Nevada. Hopefully he learned how to do the belaying when he did that, because, man. During his 20s, most of his friends had musical associations, particularly violinist and amateur photographer Cedric Wright, who became his best friend as well as his philosophical and cultural mentor. Their shared philosophy was from Edward Carpenter's Toward Democracy, a literary work which endorsed the pursuit of beauty in life and art. For several years, Adams carried a pocket edition of this book with him while at Yosemite, and it became his personal philosophy as well. He later stated, "I believe in beauty, I believe in stones and water, air and soil, people and their future and their fate." During the summer, Adams would enjoy a life of hiking, camping, and photographing. And the rest of the year, he worked to improve his piano playing, perfecting his piano technique and musical expression. He also gave piano lessons for extra income that allowed him to purchase a grand piano suitable to his musical ambitions. Never knew this about Ansel Adams. Never knew. He was still planning a career in music while he's doing all this hiking and camping and photographing, and he felt that his small hands limited his repertoire, but qualified judges considered him a very gifted pianist. I said pianist. However, when he formed the Malanvi trio with a violinist and a dancer, he proved a poor accompanist. He wasn't good at it. It took 7 more years for him to conclude that at best, he might become only a concert pianist, I said pianist, of limited range, and an accompanist or a piano teacher. So, yeah. However, photography? He was a crackerjack photographer. His first photographs were published in 1921, and Best's studio began selling his Yosemite prints the next year. His early photos already showed careful composition and sensitivity to tonal balance. In letters and cards to family, he wrote of having dared to climb to the best viewpoints and brave the worst elements. During the mid-1920s, the fashion in photography was pictorialism, okay, which strove to imitate paintings with soft focus and diffused lights and other techniques, right? It's just a manipulation of the photography to make it look softer or like a painting. Adams experimented with such techniques as well as the bromoil process, which is an oil print process in printmaking. It's just a thick, gelatinous. It does not provide what we would call a pictorially accurate thing. It's got an emulsion, so when you expose it to light, it's not crisp. That involved brushing an oily ink into the paper you're printing on. And an example of him experimenting with this is a photograph called Lodgepole Pines, Liefeld Fork of the Merced River, that he took in 1921. He uses a soft focus lens capturing a glowing luminosity that captured the mood of a magical summer afternoon. Which, I'm sorry, that's a bunch of hooey. You know what I'm saying? And for a short time, he used hand coloring, which, by the way, was another popular thing to do with black and white painting photography back then, is to take and color it by hand. But he declared in 1923 that he would do this no longer. By 1925, he had totally rejected pictorialism altogether for a more realistic approach that relied on sharp focus, heightened contrast, precise exposure, and craftsmanship in the darkroom. And in 1927, he began working with Albert M. Bender, a San Francisco insurance magnate and arts patron. Bender helped Adams produce his first portfolio in his new style, Parmelian Prints in the High Sierras, which included his famous image, Monolith, the Face of Half Dome. Look at this. Now look at the difference in these two styles. You got this all, and it's well composed, and it's a beautiful place in nature, but look at the sharpness and the jaw-dropping perspective of the height and the power of this mountain, which was taken with his Corona View camera using glass plates and a dark red filter to heighten those tonal contrasts. On that excursion, he only had one plate left, and he visualized the effect of the blackened sky while risking taking that last image. He later said, "I had been able to realize a desired image, not the way the subject appeared in reality, but how it felt to me and how it must appear in the finished print." One biographer calls Monolith Adams' most significant photograph because the extreme manipulation of tonal values was a departure from all previous photography in history. Adams' concept of visualization which he first defined in print in 1934, became a core principle in his photography. And this first portfolio of his was a success, earning nearly $3,900 with the sponsorship and promotion of Mr. Bender. Soon he received commercial assignments to photograph the wealthy patrons who bought his portfolio. He also began to understand how important it was that his carefully crafted photos were reproduced to the best effect. At Bender's invitation, he joined the Roxburgh Club, which was a bibliophilic and publishing society based in the UK, and an association devoted to fine printing and high standards in the art of making books. And from there, he learned a lot about printing techniques, inks, design, and layout, and he applied those to other projects. He married Virginia Best in 1928, after a pause from 1925 to 1926, during which he had very brief relationships with other women. The newlyweds moved in with his parents to save expenses, and the following year, they had a home built next door and connected it to the other house by a big old hallway. Let's build a big old hallway. Big old hallway here. Just get a big old hallway going. Oh, hey, chat room things? Yeah, we got chat room things. Yeah, there's things in the chat room. Yeah, okay, I'll check out the chat. Let's check out what the chat room says. Team Brittany says, hit the like, guys. You guys better do what Team Brittany says, because she's Team Brittany. People saying hi? Team Brittany says, I want that house. You mean the LeConte visitors? Yeah, it's pretty nice. Guido Samurai says, looks like a help house in Newport, Rhode Island. Love the stone. It is really nice. Everybody loves the stone. Chris is here from Canada. Leon Kennedy says, I should call in again sometime, Tom. You should. You should. I'm all in favor of it. You think I spend a lot of time thinking about what these shows are going to be? Yeah, we'd love to hear from you again. I have all sorts of other shows planned. Look at them all. Tomorrow, the disappearance of Jennifer Kesse. And then on Sunday, the radio and TV show Gunsmoke. I kind of am thinking about a members-only Gunsmoke listen-along for radio on Saturday. I pulled a bunch of episodes of Gunsmoke. Pulled them for you to listen to. Pulled them. Yeah, I did. Maybe I'll play a snippet at the end of the show. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's only one way to beat the spoilers and the... Team Brittany says, I love photography and I love playing piano. I think Team Brittany is channeling Ansel Adams. Guido says, I need to make a supercut of Tom saying pianist and Butterdick Jones. Hey, I said pianist. The Wolf is here, says, hello, folks. Always good to see the Wolf. I've known the Wolf for 45 years now. Well, it'll be 45 years in August or September. Let's see here. What do you mean, Huey? I think the photo has at least a unique look, even if you don't like it. It's all photos have a unique look because they're all one of a kind. The Wolf says, Guido Samurai, do you realize Mike Guido is Tom's best friend and a very close colleague? Mike Guido is the worst. But Mike Guido had a 4-hour-a-night show on a big sports network, and every time the Wolf and I would listen to him, he'd be saying, you got to have blocking or some dumb thing about a sport. You know, if you got a great pitcher, you're going to win the game. Dumb things. Dumb things. If you score more than the other team, you're likely to win the game. Dumb things. Wolf says that Ansel Adams was quite the nature perv. He was. Guido Samurai says the photo is sharp for the time. Well, for the time, for forever. Team Brittany is saying hello to me. Hello. And thank you for covering Jennifer's case. It means a lot to me. Oh, I had it written down a long time ago. She was on my list, as was Tiffany Sessions. I got some other ones here. Molly Bish. I've got a whole list of people that have disappeared. Shelley Miscavige. Well, do we need to get into that? Really? Do we? I think that's been bandied about. Where's Molly Bish on this list? I got Molly Bish here somewhere. She's there. Molly Bish is around here somewhere. I could do Holly Bobo, but they supposedly solved that. I've got way too many pieces of paper here. Let's see. People saying hi, people saying hi, people saying hi, people saying hi. We have the most cheerful chat room on the internet as verified by independent sources. There we go. Team Brittany, thank you so much for the 5 memberships. Those were received by Despite, who's here quite a bit. JC Vast, who's here sometimes and frankly is kind of a tool. Kobayashi, I don't know anything about that person. Megabyte, I think Megabyte's been in here. That's a good person. And Solid Snake. I loves me some Solid Snake. Solid Snake's a good dude. CIA says if you have a good manager, you'll trust the process. I'm so not trusting the process. CIA, did we win today? Did Arsenal win today? Not you, but me, we. I didn't even look. I saw where they won 8 straight games in a row by 2 goals or more. I don't know. I know they did win. Never mind. I don't need the answer to that question. Wolf says Mike was a special talent. Mike Guido sucks. Hate to say it. Team Brittany says, yeah, we all know where Shelley is. Stella Moon says, miss you, Tom. Wow. I'm here every day except for Saturday. Sky says, not an unsolved, but I'd love to see an episode on Ernst Leitz. Okay, Ernst Leitz. Is that what you want? Ernst Leitz. I'll check into that. Team Brittany is saying hi to Stella Moon. Team Brittany says, Sky, I'm going to look that up. Yeah, go look that up. Go look that sucker up. Between 1929 and 1942, Ansel Adams' work matured and became more established. The 1930s were a particularly experimental and productive time for him. He expanded technical range, emphasized detailed close-ups as well as large forms from mountains to factories. Mountains to factories. Bender took Adams on visits to Taos, New Mexico, where Adams met and made friends with the poet Robinson Jeffers, artist John Marin, and Georgia O'Keeffe. Georgia O'Keeffe, she's famous. Yeah. And photographer Paul Strand. His talkative, by the way, here's a photo from that time called Yosemite's Half Dome called Apple Orchard. Check that out. That's an apple orchard, only it's kind of snow covered. His talkative, high-spirited nature combined with his excellent piano playing made him popular amongst his artist friends. Yes. His first book, Taos Pueblo, was published in 1930 with text by writer Mary Hunter Austin. And by the way, that photographer Paul Strand, he proved to be especially influential. Adams was impressed by the simplicity and detail of Strand's negatives, which showed a style that ran counter to the soft focus impressionistic pictorialism still popular at the time. Strand shared secrets of his technique with Adams and convinced him to pursue photography full-time. And one of Strand's suggestions was that Adams get glossy paper to intensify tonal values, and that's what he done did. Yes. Adams, I'm going to show you this. This is from the National Archive, by the way. This one's called Leaf. No, I don't know what it's called. I'll tell you in a second. Adams put his first solo museum exhibition, pictorial photographs of Sierra Nevada mountains by Ansel Adams, which, look, as a writer, I don't think you have to say pictorial. Pictorial photographs. What other kind of photographs are there? Really? You know what I mean? But anyway, other than that, that was exhibited at the Smithsonian Institution in 1931. It featured 60 prints taken in the High Sierra and Canadian Rockies. He received a favorable review from the Washington Post. His photographs are like portraits of the giant peaks, which seem to be inhabited by mythical gods. Despite his success, Adams felt that he was not yet up to the standards of his friend Paul Strand. He decided to broaden his subject matter to include still life and close-up photos, and to achieve higher quality by visualizing each image before taking it. He emphasized the use of small apertures and long exposures in natural light, which created sharp details with a wide range of distances in focus. As he demonstrated in Rose and Driftwood, one of his finest still life photos. I'm just going to show you another. This may be out of order, but I'm going to show you. This one's called Winter Storm, and it's from Yosemite. But look at the clarity and the stuff going on there. In 1932, Adams had a group show at the M.H. DeYoung Museum with Imogene Cunningham and Edward Weston, and they soon formed Group F64, which espoused pure or straight photography over pictorialism. F64, as Gene Genie mentioned earlier, being a very small aperture setting that gives great depth of field. The group's manifesto stated, they've got a manifesto, everybody back away. Pure photography is defined as possessing no qualities of technique, composition, or idea derivative of any other art form. So while these other people were trying to kind of recreate what paintings were, these guys were saying, no, photography is photography, and it shouldn't aspire to be anything else but photography. Imitating the example of photographer Alfred Stieglitz. There's no one in the German army who doesn't know of Hugo Stieglitz. Alfred Stieglitz. Adams opened his own art and photography gallery in San Francisco in 1933. He also began to publish essays in photography magazines and wrote his first instructional book, Making a Photograph, in 1935. I don't know how more instructional a photograph could be than if it was called Making a Photograph. That's just what I think, though. During the summers, Adams often participated in those Sierra Club high trips outings as a paid photographer for the group, and the rest of the year, a core group of club members socialized regularly in San Francisco and Berkeley. Well, yes, well. In 1933, his first child, Michael, was born, followed by Anne 2 years later. Think about that. Here's another photo. This one is of Georgia O'Keeffe and Orville Cox, who looks to me to be a little bit like Will Rogers. That's just me. This one here is it's just spectacular. It's just really good looking. During the 1930s, Adams began to deploy his photographs in the cause of wilderness preservation. He was inspired partly by the increasing incursion into Yosemite Valley of commercial development, including a pool hall, a bowling alley, golf course, shops, automobile traffic. He created the limited edition book Sierra Nevada, the John Muir Trail, in 1938 as part of the Sierra Club's efforts to secure the designation of Kings Canyon as a national park. His book and his testimony before Congress played a vital role in the success of that effort. Congress designated Kings Canyon as a national park in 1940. In 1935, Adams created many new photographs of the Sierra Nevada. One of his most famous, Clearing Winter Storm, I showed you a few minutes ago. There we go. There, Clearing Winter Storm, depicted the entire Yosemite Valley just as a winter storm abated, leaving a fresh coat of snow. He gathered his recent work and had a solo show at Stieglitz's Gallery in New York in 1936, and the exhibition proved successful with both the critics and the buying public, and earned Adams strong praise from the revered Stieglitz. The following year, the negative for Clearing Winter Storm was almost destroyed when the darkroom in Yosemite caught fire. With the help of Edward Weston and Weston's future wife, Therese Wilson, Adams put out the fire, but thousands of negatives, including hundreds that had never been printed, were lost. In 1937, Ansel Adams and some friends, including Georgia O'Keeffe, went to Arizona with Orville Cox, the head wrangler at the Ghost Ranch, as their guide. Both artists created new work during this trip, and Adams made a candid portrait of O'Keeffe with Cox on the rim of the Canyon de Chelly. Adams once remarked, "Some of my best photographs have been made in and on the rim of that canyon." Hey now, the rim of that canyon. Hey now, phrasing. During the rest of the 30s, Adams took on many commercial assignments to supplement the income from the struggling Best's studio. He depended on such assignments financially until the 70s. Some of his clients included Kodak, Fortune Magazine, Pacific Gas and Electric Company, AT&T, and the American Trust Company. That same year of 1939, he was named an editor of U.S. Camera and Travel, the most popular photography magazine of the time. Hey now. In 1940, Adams created a pageant of, I said pageant, of photography, the largest and most important photography show in the West to date, attended by millions of viewers. With his wife, Adams completed a children's book and the very successful illustrated guide to Yosemite Valley during 1940 and 1941. He also taught photography by giving workshops in Detroit. He began his first serious stint of teaching, which included the training of military photographers in 1941 at the Art Center School of Los Angeles. And in 1941, Adams contracted with the National Park Service to make photographs of national parks, Indian reservations, and other locations managed by the department for use as mural-sized prints to decorate the department's new building. The contract was set for 180 days. Adams set off on a road trip with his friend Cedric and his son Michael, intending to combine the work on the mural project with commissions for the U.S. Potash Company and Standard Oil, with some days reserved for personal work. Well, let me tell you something. He cranked out a bunch of amazing stuff like this, or like this, which is one of those commercial pieces of work, or this. Or maybe even this, which frankly, look at that. Look at the tiny little trees in the center of that. This is a vast photo of a deep, deep valley. And it actually looks like the opening scene of Shenandoah, you're doomed to wander on across this land so lonely. Oh, Shenandoah. Anyway, it looks like that. While in New Mexico for the project, Adams photographed a scene of the moon rising above the modest village under a dominating black sky. The photograph is one of his most famous and is named Moonrise, Hernandez, New Mexico. I'm going to show it to you now. There it is. That's one of his most famous right there. And you can probably see Adams' description in his later books of how it was made probably enhanced his fame. The light on the crosses in the foreground, which you can see in there in the little graveyard in a second, I guess, was rapidly fading, and he couldn't find his exposure meter. But he remembered the luminance of the moon and used it. The luminance of the moon was used to calculate the proper exposure. In the resulting negative, the foreground was underexposed, the highlights in the clouds were quite dense, and the negative proved difficult to print. The initial publication of Moonrise was in U.S. Camera in their 1943 annual. After being selected by the photo judge for U.S. Camera, Edward Steichen, Stieglitz and Steichen. This gave Moonrise an audience before its first formal exhibition at the Museum of Modern Art in 1944. Over nearly 40 years, Adams reinterpreted the image, his most popular by far, using the latest darkroom equipment at his disposal, making over 1,369 unique prints, mostly in the 16 by 20 format. Many of the prints were made during the 70s, with their sale finally giving Adams financial independence from commercial projects. The total value of these original prints exceeds $25 million, and the highest price paid for a single print of Moonrise reached $600,000 at a 2006 Sotheby's auction in New York. The mural project ended on June 30th, 1942, and because of the World War, the murals were never created. Adams sent a total of 225 small prints to the Department of Interior, but held on to the 229 negatives. These include many famous images, such as the Tetons and the Snake River. I said the Tetons and the Snake River. That one there. Look at that sucker. Although they were legally property of the U.S. government, he knew that the National Archives did not take proper care of photographic material and used various subterfuges to evade queries. And I'm sure if he was needing subterfuge help, Stieglitz would be glad to help him. Stieglitz. The ownership of one image in particular has attracted interest, Moonrise. Although Adams kept meticulous records of his travel and expenses, he was less disciplined about the recording of the dates of his images, and he neglected to note the date of Moonrise. But the position of the moon allowed the image to be dated from astronomical calculations. And in 1991, Dennis DiCicco, of Sky and Telescope determined that Moonrise was made on November 1st, 1941. Since this was a day for which he had not billed the department, it belonged to him. Ha, 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 ha. It was helped by Stieglitz. Let me show you another. Have I showed you this one yet? Nope, look at that one. Look at that sucker right there. Look at the clarity of those mountains in the background. It's just incredible. Sorry, audio podcast people. Imagine a photo with clarity there. All right, let's get to your chat real fast here. I'll let you look at this picture. Yeah, see? I'll let you look at the picture, see? Let's see here. T. Brittany says, okay. Terry Nee says, miss you too. Terry Nee's here, everybody. Sky says, hey, Stella. The Wolf says, hello, Terry. By the way, like, share, subscribe, retweet, notification bell. All those free things you can do to help the show. Team Brittany gave 5 memberships a little earlier on, and it was great. I said pianist. And also, But you can super chat our membership, people. Let's see. Team Brittany's like ultra membershiping people. That's a very generous way to give. She's doing things for other people. She's like Fonzie. I just ran out of beverage. This show's not got long to last here. Terry Nee with the peace signs to Kim. I don't know who Kim is. Oh, the wolf. Yes, the wolf. Solid Snake is here. Hey, Solid Snake. We always love seeing Solid Snake. Stanley, there ain't no damn way, Stanley. You know good and damn well. That's my Solid Snake imitation. The Wolf says, oh, that Tri-X film is very sexy stuff. Solid Snake. Yeah, Solid Snake's an awesome dude. Team Brittany said, Solid Snake, very welcome. Team Brittany, hit the like button, gullibles. Gullibles. Well, the Gullerinos, Gully Gang, Gully Heads. Gullibles, though. Maybe that's a better name. Leon Kennedy says, Terry is here, so we need to hear the Terry Nee song. Do we really need to stop down for the Terry Nee song right now? Is that something that okay, we'll do it since Leon wants it. By God, we're going to do it. The Terry Nee song, to you audio podcast listeners, only lasts a second. And we play it because it only lasts a second. It is a banger. It's a really good tune. But it only lasts a second, and it does make fun of Terry Nee, so I'm all in favor of it. Why don't we hear the Terry Nee song, shall we?
Sits in the chat like he paid a fee. Shades indoors, who can he see? Acts a name, he points at me like, come on now, I'm Terry Nee. Head full funk, 0 degree. Smooth brain, confidence, guilt-free. You ask again, he shrugs carefree. Buddy, I'm Terry Nee, he's Terry Nee. Who's Terry Nee? He's Terry Nee. Who's Terry Nee? Say it once, say it twice with me. That's the whole damn song. Terry Nee.
I'm a little out of breath now. Who's Terry Nee anyway? All right, there's a little break for you there. Just a little break. Just a little who's Terry Nee break. That's all. Did I already show you that? Yeah, that's what I was on when I left there. Okay, here we go. Where we at? When Eric's... I was still doing the chat room. Sorry. Terry Nee song... Oh, no, the Thunderbolt of Justice kind of manifesto? No, not that kind of manifesto. But anytime you hear manifesto now, you got to get a little, you got to really watch out. CIA says sometimes you have to trust the process in the making of art. I guess we're still on top of the champions. I don't know. The Wolf says he must have been scamming to get insurance money so he could buy liquor. Scheming. Guido Samurai said, I think his methods will come back. People are sick of drone pictures. Wolf says, Tom, just sing the song and get it out of your system. Oh, Shenandoah, you're doomed to wander. Sorry. Team Brittany says, I want $25 million. Grand Teton. I know, that sounds dirty, doesn't it? But it's not dirty. Grand Tetons? It's like, I don't know. It sounds dirty. Wolf says, I wonder if Ansel Adams ever took pictures at Indy. I don't know. Wolf says, Team Brittany, you can have 23 million, but not 25. Team Brittany says, that's so beautiful. God's artwork. It is. Randy, the chef, says, the crew says, good night, Tom, and everybody says, good night, crazy. We're in the middle of a rush. Uh-oh, they're in the weeds. That's what they call it in restaurants when they're slammed with orders. Hey, good night, crew at the Skyline Club in Indianapolis. You guys are awesome. Like, share, subscribe, retweet, notification bell, all the free things you can do to help us out. Super chats, memberships, gifted memberships, and the PayPal. The PayPal is so good. It's in our YouTube description, and it's so good because YouTube takes 30% of every donation, but the PayPal is 100% coming this way, and I get it right away, immediately. I don't have to wait 6 weeks. Awesome. Team Brittany says, oh my God, Tom, I have a story about Fonzie. I'll email you. Tim Jenkins says, did you get any snow where you are, Tom? We did. We got an inch or two here, which for Dallas is impressive. It's more like frozen rain, frosts build up, but they're proud of themselves here about that. We did get very cold, though. I will give you that. We got down to like 9 degrees, something like that. And it's cold here now. That's why I'm wearing my Columbia fleece thing again. It's darn cold in this house. And it's going to get up to 55 tomorrow, so I'll come out. I haven't been out since like Thursday. So it's almost a week. I have not set one foot outside. Team Brittany says he did, but he won't make snow cream. I won't make snow cream. People saying hi to Tim Jenkinson. Who is Terry Nee? That's a good question. Wolf says, Terry Nee, that was funky. Team Brittany says, you find the best stories, Tom Gulley Show. Well, thank you. Crappy at Life says, I missed the show. No, I'm way... This show is going way long, and I'm sure that most people that listen to or watch it later will hate it because I'm going off track, a million different tangents. But the people right now probably, Team Brittany says, now, language, Crappy at Life. Well, it's my fault if I put the language on the air. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. Team Brittany says, my PI team said you were outside for 12 minutes. They're wrong. They are wrong. I put my door, you know what door snake is? When it's cold out, you put that heavy cloth thing at the bottom of your door so no air can get into cold air. No, I haven't been outside since I went to the grocery store on Thursday, knowing everybody would be there on Friday and Saturday, and I'm still good. But I am going to go out tomorrow. I'll need special things before I do the Jennifer Kessie show. Okay, where was I? Let's get you a different picture. Look at this. Look at that. That's just... When Edward Steichen formed his Naval Aviation Photographic Unit in early 1942, he wanted Adams to be a member, to build and direct a state-of-the-art darkroom and laboratory in Washington, D.C. Around February 1942, Steichen asked him to join him in the Navy. Adams agreed, but with two conditions. He wanted to be commissioned as an officer, and he wouldn't be available till July 1st. Steichen, who wanted to assemble the team as quickly as possible, passed and had other photographers ready by early April. Adams was distressed by the Japanese-American internment that occurred after the Pearl Harbor attack, and he requested permission to visit the Manzanar War Relocation Center in the Owens Valley at the base of Mount Williamson. The resulting photo essay first appeared in the Museum of Modern Art exhibit and was later published, Born Free and Equal, the Story of Loyal Japanese Americans. Upon its release, the book was met with some distressing resistance and was rejected by many as disloyal, and this work was a significant departure from the work which he was known for. It was a departure stylistically and philosophically. But he also contributed to the war effort by doing many photographic assignments for the military, including making prints of secret Japanese installations in the Aleutians. So take that. Yeah. So take that. Let me see here. Got another There's Old Faithful. He caught Old Faithful. Do you believe that? In 1943, Adams had a camera platform mounted on his station wagon to afford him a better vantage point over the immediate foreground and a better angle for expansive backgrounds. Most of his landscapes from that time forward were made from the roof of his car rather than from summits reached by rugged hiking, like when he was young, spry whippersnapper, you know. And he was the recipient of, also known as the recipient of 3 Guggenheim Fellowships during his career, the first being awarded in 1946 to photograph every national park. At that time, there were 28 national parks, and Adams photographed 27 of them, missing only Everglades National Park in Florida, stating, "It's in Florida." I think that was mean. No, I'm kidding. He didn't say that. I said that, and I was trying to tease Team Brittany for a second, but I've lived in Florida and enjoyed it very much. The series of photographs, also known as photographs, produced memorable images of Old Faithful that I'm showing you now, and Mount McKinley, now known as Denali, or maybe they've turned it back to Mount McKinley. I don't know. It's not my thing. It's a big rock. In 1945, Adams was asked to form the first fine art photography department at the California School of Fine Arts. He invited Dorothea Lange, Imogene Cunningham, and Edward Weston to be guest lecturers, and Minor White to be the principal instructor. The photography department produced notable photographers, including Philip Hyde, Benjamin Chin, and Bill Hike. Bill Hike, hey man, Bill Hike used to be able to take some photos, I'm telling you what. Bill Hike also a guy that didn't mind a long walk. In 1952, Adams was one of the founders of the magazine Aperture, which was intended as a serious journal of photography displaying its best practitioners and newest innovations. He was also a contributor to Arizona Highways, a photo-rich travel magazine. His article on Mission San Xavier del Bac, with text by longtime friend Nancy Newhall, was enlarged into a book published in 1954, and it was the first of many collaborations with her. In 1955, he began his annual workshops at Yosemite. Look at this cave thing he did. It's a cave. He continued commercial assignments for another 20 years and became a consultant with the monthly retainer for Polaroid, which was founded by a good friend of his, Edwin Land camera fame. He made thousands of photographs with Polaroid products. El Capitan, Winter, Sunrise being the one he considered most memorable. During the final 20 years of his life, the 6x6 centimeter medium form Hasselblad was his camera of choice. Oh, is that a great camera? And with Moon and Half Dome being his favorite photograph made with that brand of camera, I got to tell you, a wonderful photographer who passed away, a beautiful girl, Pamela Moujon, had a Hasselblad, and she one time called me up and said, I want to take some pictures of you. So I got like a t-shirt and a suit vest and some jeans, and we went all over Indianapolis. I had my harmonicas with me and a bunch of other little props, and she took a ton, and I used to have the contacts for those. I no longer do. And I think her sister might have all of those, but I've never contacted her and said, hey, can I get some of those? From 1957 until 1962, Geraldine Jerry Sharp served as his photographic assistant. They often took photographs of the same location. He published his fourth portfolio, What Majestic World, in 1963. The title was taken from the poem Sand Dunes, and the 15 photographs were accompanied by the writings of both John and Russell Varian. Moonrise. Look at these farm workers here. Check that out. Look at the clarity of that photo. Would you look at that? By the 1960s, sadly, Ansel Adams had developed gout and arthritis and had hoped that moving to a new home would make him feel better. He and his wife considered Santa Fe, but they both had commitments in California. Virginia was managing the Yosemite studio of her father. A friend offered to sell them property in Carmel Highlands, overlooking the Big Sur coastline. With architect Eldridge Spencer, they began planning a new home in 1961 and moved there in 1965. Adams began to devote much of his time to printing the backlog of negatives that had accumulated over 40 years. In the 1960s, a few mainstream art galleries that had considered photography unworthy of exhibit along fine paintings decided to show Adams' images, particularly the former Kenmore Gallery in Philadelphia. In March of 1963, Ansel Adams and Nancy Newhall accepted a commission from Clark Kerr, the president of the University of California, to produce a series of photographs of the university's campuses to commemorate its centennial celebration. The collection, titled Fiat Lux, after the university's motto, was published in 1967 and now resides in the Museum of Photography at the University of California, Riverside. Adams was the recipient of those Guggenheim Fellowships. Yeah, I already covered that. I don't know why I must have accidentally wrote this twice. During the 70s, Adams reprinted negatives from his vault, in part to satisfy the demand from art museums that had recently established departments of photography. In 1972, Adams contributed images to help publicize Proposition 20, which authorized the state to regulate development along the portions of the California coast. Oh, I just did a bad thing. Okay, now I'm good. In 1974, he exhibited in a famous French place that I'm not going to try to pronounce. Okay, I'll pronounce it. Rencontre des Arts. Yeah. He also had a major retrospective exhibition at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. In 1975, he co-founded the Center for Creative Photography at the University of Arizona, which handles some of his estate matters. In 1979, President Jimmy Carter commissioned Adams to make the first official photographic portrait of a U.S. president. During this occasion, Adams gave Carter a letter containing two memoranda. One advocated placing Big Sur under federal protection. The other argued for stronger legislation for protecting Alaskan wilderness. Ansel Adams died from cardiovascular disease on April 22, 1984, in the intensive care unit at the Community Hospital of the Monterey Peninsula in Monterey, California. At age 82, he was surrounded by his wife, his two children, and his 5 grandchildren. His body was cremated and his ashes were scattered on Half Dome at Yosemite National Park. Publishing rights for most of Adams' photographs are handled by the trustees of the Ansel Adams Publishing Rights Trust. An archive of Adams' work is located in the Center for Creative Photography at the University of Arizona in Tucson. Numerous works by the artist have been sold at auction, including a mural-sized print of Clearing Winter Storm, which sold at Sotheby's in New York in June of 2010 for $722,500, the highest price ever paid for an original Ansel Adams photograph. That price, however, was surpassed by another mural-sized print of one of his photographs, the Tetons in the Snake River. This photo here sold for $988,000 at Sotheby's, New York on December 14th, 2020. Adams' wife, Virginia Rose Best, died on January 29, 2000, at the age of 96. Here's a picture I took. Here's another picture I took. There's another picture I took. There's another picture I took. I got a bunch of them. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all I got to tell you and to show you about that Ansel Adams fella. Let's get to your chats. Oh, daddy-o, let's get to your chats. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Terry Nichols? Team Brittany says, I love getting Tom off the rails. It's not hard to do. Very easy to do. The Wolf says, that heavy cloth thing, are you referring to the warmer? I don't have the warmer. You had the warmer. You went out and got a warmer. I never had a warmer. I had an awful, you don't even remember my jacket in college. My winter coat in college was terrible. It was a terrible thing. It was a green with a stripe. Oh, it was awful. I've got a good one now, though. And I've had it since 2007, and it's killer. Almost 20 years old now. Anyway. Crappy at Life said they had it coming. Oh, hey now. Team Brittany says a Snuggie. It's not a Snuggie. It's not a slanket. It's just it only goes down to here. It goes up to here. It's very warm, though. Wolf says, how dare you use the warmer in the door instead of draping it luxuriously around your body? What? I don't have a warmer. Team Brittany, I'm sitting on the illustrious Snuggie right now. Oh, yeah, you may have a Snuggie. Team Brittany says, they are awesome and dogs love them. She is keeping those photos in a storage container. They will be found 50 years now. You mean like Virginia? I did a show on her. What's the chick? I did a whole show on her. Paula. I'm not going to. Funny how things suddenly appear from someone's vault and are randomly released, says Team Brittany. No, that chick had put them in storage vaults all over. What was her name? Ellie, doggone it. And I love her photos too. Hers are mostly of people. Sort of photojournalistic, like I do mine. They weren't all Ansel Adamsy. Oh, come on. This phone. It's always there. It's always not there when you need it. All right. I'll remember right when I found in storage. I did a whole show on this chick. It's just her name's escaping me. Vivian Meyer. Boom. There you go. Vivian Meyer. I did a whole show on her. Go back and watch it. It'll knock your head off. They're awesome. Dogs love them. Wolf says, is that a can of Billy beer in the background? I don't know, Billy beer. This is a can of cherry zero sugar store brand cola. Backwash, the fillet of the cola. All right. It's near the place Gabby's ashes were put. Heart's broken. My winter coat in college was my boyfriend, says Steve Brinley. Oh, dear. Tomorrow night, we will have the inexplicable, undiscovered, just 20-year-old disappearance of Jennifer Kessie. Team Brittany knows way more about this than I do. I'm going to be researching it with some materials that she sent me. She was kind enough to send me. I did find a vertical missing poster from the right people, and I've got that going for me. So we will do that tomorrow night. I keep saying we do those shows because somebody knows something. So we'll keep doing them. And then on Sunday, the radio show, and I might just go ahead and do this right now. The radio and the TV show, Gunsmoke. All right, which one of these did I get that was really good? Hold on. One of these was really good. Is it this one? I think it... Yeah. I'm going to play this. Here we go. I think I'll try this one. It may suck. I don't know.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of gun smoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad, the story of the violence that moved west with young America, and the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man, Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful and a little lonely.
Is that not an awesome opening? It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful and a little lonely. There's only one way to beat the drovers and the spoilers. All right, let's see here. Do the Levon affair. I don't know what that is. Team Brittany says, someone knows what happened to Jennifer. Remember, turn yourself in to the family first. No prosecution. Team Brittany says, hashtag Gunsmoke. The Wolf says, I was referring to the girl you said photographed you. They will find those 100 years from now. You'll be identified only as Gringo Giant. Who, Pamela Mujan? Oh, what a beautiful girl she was, and just a great person, and from South Bend. Team Brittany says, LOL. Yes, I will be identified as the Gringo Giant. All right. I think I'm gonna do this. Well, it doesn't make any sense to play it now, but I'm gonna play it now because Leon Kennedy did this song that's about me, but it doesn't have the my name in it. But by the same token, it could be a song that I could sing. That's how much about me it is. So do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, retweet, notification bell. Do those free things, please, that you can do. Tell a friend the next time you're, at the grocery store or you're talking to somebody about something, about a thing and stuff. Go, hey, this show, you should, yeah. And then share it on all your social media. Come on, man, because we got, I'm just saying, we all know there's Dabbleverse shows where people light their flatulence on fire and they get, 3,000 views a show. Wolf says, Matt Hoss of a Man Dillon. Team Brittany says, no, Tom, let's stay live until 1 a.m. We can do, well, we did that on New Year's. We can do it. I don't think we're going to do it now because A, I'm hungry, and B, I'm hungry, and C, I got to get prepped for tomorrow's show. Like, share, subscribe, gullibles. Team Brittany is taken to calling everybody gullible. I don't know that that's that complimentary. I don't know that's going to spread the show. Wouldn't you like to be a gullible? And then the notion that I'm gullible when I'm supposed to be delivering all these facts. I think the three names, and technically the name of our membership group is Gullerinos, Gully Heads, and Gully Gang. And these are well established. And then there was a late push for Flock of Seagullies, which I don't know how I feel about that either, but I don't care. Nobody cares what I think. So, with all that being said, yes, you're hungry too. Everybody's hungry. With all that being said, look at that old clock on the wall, and it says I got an Amscray. So you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And with all that being said, Crappy at Life says I'm a gullyhead. Thank you, Crappy at Life. Tomorrow night, Jennifer Kessie and her disappearance. Sunday, Gunsmoke, radio and television. And then maybe Saturday. I'm trying to think of something to do for Saturday. So maybe we'll listen, members only for Saturday. Members only. We might do a show where we, listen to Gunsmoke for an hour or two. Yeah. Flock of Seagullies. Do you like that, Team Brittany? Yeah, a lot of people like Flock of Seagullies. They really do. I don't know why, but they do. All right. With all that being said, check this new song out. It's about me. It's a song that I could sing, but I didn't have my name in it. But it is a song that's so much I could sing it in a musical about me. Team Brittany says, going to mail you my Fonzie story. I heard a great Fonzie story today. A kid that was at Fonzie's son's fraternity, and Fonzie showed up and dropped his laundry off. It was hilarious. But anyway, with all that being said, I think the only thing left to say, thank you all so much for being here. You guys rock. You're awesome. And till next time. Oh, by the way, Monday we have legendary Los Angeles newsman and double legendary broadcaster Hal Eisner will be our guest live on this show. Till next time, we'll see you next time.
They said the night was crowded, too many voices in the room. Some burn bright for a moment, some fade out far too soon. I've watched the doors swing open, I felt them close just as fast. You learn to mind your footing on a floor made out of glass. I've been counted out, I've been counted wrong. I've heard the doubts get loud and strong. When the lights go out and I play that song, I'm still on. I've had nights full of promise, I've had days that wouldn't end. Some chase the sound of thunder, some wait for trends to bend. I've seen the door swing wide open, I've seen them slam just as fast. You learn to move with some caution on a surface built to crash. Talk about the past, let them say it doesn't last. I don't need the wind forever, I just need to run one more mile, one more honest song. anyway.